some minutes from the previous meeting, September 3rd. Corrections?
Nope, I went through them, I found no corrections, so if somebody else has a comment, I will make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
John?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
DJ? Yes. Okay, we do have a guest tonight, and he's been kind of a regular here to keep us updated.
Yeah.
Mr. Don
Oh
Rice.
man, this guy I want to see.
I'm the candy man, and it works, so I keep doing it. So, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. We try to get out every year, let people ask questions. I think you've gotten used to seeing me here. I do the same thing, basically ask some questions and let the questions flow backwards once I've asked a few. Anytime somebody takes a guess, right, wrong, they get a piece of candy. That includes you guys in the audience, not just the guys up front here. So. I'll start with the first question. Does anybody know how many people we served last year? It's in the handout that I gave you, so there's a cheat sheet.
That would be cheating.
I'm going to guess, I thought you said 1,700, something like
Oh,
that.
wow, that'd be double. That's
Double?
That's a good guess. I mean,
No, I didn't read that.
I would love to see that, but I wouldn't like it because that would mean we have a lot of people with handicaps,
Well, we do.
percentage-wise.
I know one.
You get candy for wrong answers too?
Yeah?
3,400.
Oh, way too high. Wait, too high. I'm glad to see that.
I'm good, I'll spoil my dinner. Got a Kenston student.
800.
though, but
800 is closer. It's on the sheet there. Somebody else want to take a guess? I'm handing out candy.
I'm just gonna guess where it says total served, 950.
There you go. You can read it on the thing. 950. Oh, just under 1,000 people served last year. Now, that doesn't count the roughly 100 to 120 seniors who participate in the building and use the building. That's not part of our program. It's part of the Department on Aging that we share with. So they've been using our buildings for those things like water aerobics and pickleball and so forth. So we have things in our buildings. Anybody want to guess what our oldest client is? 102 is high, but it's a...
Oh, no, actually, no, thank you.
All right.
Could be.
95?
95 is high still, but good guess. Getting closer.
Thank you.
Clearly it's a...
Remember guys, you get candy for wrong answers too.
Oh, yeah. Just take a guess.
I don't need any candy, thank you.
Okay. Our oldest right now is 90.
Wow.
The guy last year who I told you about, who was 92, passed away in January, so it fell to the next place. She's actually 90. So we have a handful that are over the age of 85. So there's a group of them over that.
Now, what exactly are they just disabled people? Or tell me about somebody who's 90 up there. I mean,
Somebody who's 90, the definition of this developmentally disabled means that it started before age 21.
oh, okay.
So they're born with something,
Wow,
or it happens in
really
year
did
2.
well then.
Yeah. So this is somebody who might have spina bifida or Down syndrome or any one of a traumatic brain injury that happens before they get to be age 21. That is a lifelong issue.
Do you know the longest time a person's been serviced there? If like that
single
90-year-old, did
individual.
they start when they were 21?
I would say that 90-year-old may have started, see, some of them were going back to the original 1965 when we
Yeah.
were first formed as a Metzenbaum Center from the Opportunity School. So some of them could have been original.
In the opportunity school, yeah.
Now, we're losing them, but I do know for a fact that some of the
Oh, that's,
children are there, their parents were the starting groups that have passed away in the last, since I've been superintendent.
I think that's a real feather in your cap.
Yeah, it's something where we're proud of who we serve. The parents that started us back in the Opportunity School days, back in the 50s, before it ever became officially a government entity, became a government entity in 1967. And that's when we became the Metzenbaum Center, about that same time. So to give you a kind of a history, we've been around for a long time. Started off as a school, Opportunity School, met around throughout the area, grew into adult services and then eventually residential care. Our first foray into residential care was 1977 when we opened that residence there on the grounds. Today, our biggest thing that we do is provide 24/7 care for somebody like who's 90, whose parents aren't around to serve them. Anybody want to take a shot at how many people we serve in a 24/7 capacity? I need somebody in the back so I can get some candy out of the back, guys. Take a shot. How many do you think?
202.
202 is right on the number. Unfortunately, that number was right when we created that flyer back in June. Anybody want to guess what it is today?
201.
A little higher. Keep going.
They're gaining some, they
We've
didn't lose
gained.
some.
I just wanted candy.
Yeah, that's all right. That's fine. I give it away. I don't want to take it home. There's 208.
I got 8 grandkids, I gotta answer 6 more questions.
All right, there you go. Anybody want to guess what our youngest client is that we serve? Take a guess. I won't have to make you take it. You can take a guess. 4, too old.
Really?
Yes.
It says 0 to 3 there somewhere. Oh, there's not even 1 yet.
Not even 1 yet. You're right. Keep going down. Take a number.
2 months.
Not.
2 months.
There you go. Right on. We can go prenatally. So if a mother gets a diagnosis that says she has a child in utero that has spina bifida or any of those things, anybody seen the magnetic, the 3D imaging that they can do with the ultrasounds? It's incredible. They can tell exactly what's going on in utero. We can bring people. We have speech therapists, occupational therapists, physical therapists, developmental specialists that we can bring to bear to a family who has a child with special needs. As soon as we know there's something like that and they'll make a referral to us, get us involved, we'll bring things along. About 50% of the time, those children, by the time they reach school age, are functioning typically and able to function in school, and we'll never see them again. And that's really the goal. Our goal is to help them as much as possible.
Where do your referrals come from then?
Doctors,
Doctor?
pediatricians, sometimes as family members. If you know of somebody who has a child with special needs, have them give us a call. We will gladly get involved because as children, they're the most adaptive to what their environment is. And we have the best success when we're doing that. So if you can get us involved, the sooner the better. Anybody want to guess how many people we have employed in the community? Minimum wage or above. And I can tell you we have 445 adults or so that we're serving. That's 445 adults that we're serving that are, remember, some of them are in wheelchairs and not capable really of getting out of bed. They need fed and those type of things. So it's not going to be 400 some.
133.
There he goes. Ready, good. There you go. There's 133, but once again, that was back in June. Anybody want to guess what it is today? Most recent number that I saw was going for the board vote tonight, or tomorrow evening, or Wednesday evening. It's higher.
135.
Keep going. Summertime. Take a guess. Take a guess. 150 is just a little high. Go ahead, take it. I don't want them. Split the difference between the two, and you're right about 142. We have 142 people that we have working, earning minimum wage or above. They may not be full-time, but they're working in a job, whether that's McDonald's, whether that's Walmart, or Giant Eagle, or any of those type of places. We also have factory places. We have some people who are working in some of the hospitals. They're working jobs that fit their interest and their abilities. We let that kind of guide it. We're very proud of that number because in 2012 it was 35. Today we have more than tripled it. And that is the way we change things. We used to be that we take kids right out of school and bring them into a workshop to teach them a skill, right? Now let's take this as this is my workshop. And I bring a new person into here and they work around you. They become friends with you, don't they? They learn a skill and it's time to move you out. Guess what? They don't want to go over here and work with these guys. They're friends with all these folks. We have to break the chain of the fact that they want to be with their friends to go over there. It doesn't happen very well. If I start over here and you guys are a company and bring somebody into your company and they're working with you in the company, they form friends here. They're already at work. They don't have to leave and go to work. They have already got the job. It has worked very, very well. So in the last 7 years, we've seen a huge increase. And that's fun.
I'm glad you mentioned a handful of those companies that you do for job placement, because a friend of mine from high school was hurt bad in an accident, I think got a job through you with Eagle. I think he's been with them about 15 years now.
Oh, there's some very good companies. We've been helped by the economy being a little strong at the moment, where the unemployment number's around 3.5 or whatever it is. That means people are taking chances on our folks, and our folks are getting in. They're finding what they like. So they're keeping them.
And the bigger companies, they have it seemed like they'd have a lot more different types of things they could have people do than if you were trying to train them in an isolated area, because then you only have a specific amount. So do they take people in there and, you know, work with maybe what their interests are, or something that, here, you know, what do you think you could do, or?
We have some companies that call us. Other times we have a client who says, I'd like to work at Craft Mate. And so we might go to Craft Mate and say, hey, this client would like to do that. They might say, well, what if they can do? Well, let's show you what they can do. And they'll go in and they might even craft a job around it. It may be helping tape off something that, maybe they're not running the CNC lathe, but they might be providing material to the CNC lathe, those type of things. It depends on the abilities and the interest of the individual. So it kind of works out well.
Man, it seems like that would help the longevity of the jobs if they're getting into something, being forced into something that they like or have the ability to do. You know, because any job you do, if you can do it well, gives them that sense of pride.
That's worth something right there.
Yeah.
Give you some self-esteem.
2 last questions, and then I'll be done, unless you guys have more questions. First of all, what's the most expensive thing we do? It's residential care. 24/7 care is the most expensive thing we do. Anybody want to guess what percentage of our funding goes into that?
Looking at the cheat sheet, I'd say probably 80%.
80% is high. Thankfully, we are able to spend more on other things.
If it's more than 50% of your funding, I'm gonna say 60%.
There you go. There you go. 60% of the funding comes from that.
Wow.
How much of our funding comes from the local levy?
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask next.
How much of our funding comes from our local levy?
I'm gonna guess 10%.
80% is just slightly high. 10% is way low.
How much do the commissioners kick in then?
Commissioners don't get anything.
Is that right?
We have 2 levies. One was a 3.3 mil levy passed in 2004 that we've extended out.
Yeah.
And then the one that we passed in 2015 was a 1 mil. So we have 4.3 mils voted. They don't yield what they were voted. But
Yeah.
That's where we are.
So you probably want to do is think about a replacement
We're
for that first one.
Never. When you go to replace levies, since Kasich administration, the homestead exemption goes away. So
Oh,
if you
you
do a
lose the
replacement
homestead.
on that one,
Yeah.
you're gonna make the taxpayers of Geauga County pay $1.1 million
Yeah.
before you get $1 addition. There's no reason to let the state off the hook on the $1.1 million, which is why in 2015 we passed a new levy instead. Because let the state keep paying. Hey, they've taken away enough funding.
They're
We've
getting
lived
their
through both
share of the pie.
Strickland's administration and Kasich's administration.
Roughly speaking, what does it cost to basically house and feed someone for 24/7 for a year?
Depends on the position and where they are. If they're a high need person where they're living in the residence with 24/7 care from a nursing type staff, you're talking in the neighborhood of 100,000. If you're, well, nursing homes are around anywhere from 8 to 10,000 a month.
So what is your total budget?
Our total budget or total expenditures?
No, well,
Total budget's about 23 million, but
23
some of
million.
that is being shifted from one, it's just that moving of transferring money
Yeah.
from funds. So you gotta throw those transfers out. We spend around 16 and a half.
16 million. I'd say it's money well spent.
That's what we do, and that's where we are. We are on the ballot. I won't say anything about supporting it, I'm not allowed to, so I won't. But we are on, it's a reward. So I can educate, I can't.
That's a renewal of which levy?
2015.
That's 2015.
So there's no new taxes. We hope to not ask again until 2025.
How many people work in your agency?
And we've changed how we're doing things because the state and federal laws changed in 2003. And now we're using more private contractors, private companies. In 2003, we had about 330 employees. Today, we're 80. And
And you contract out with the bulk of these work, I think that's smart, yeah.
well, it's just more efficient.
Yeah.
And it's just county government benefits, more holidays, more vacation time, more whatever, just makes the benefit package more expensive. PERS by itself versus Social Security is a percent difference. So you have to use that. You can't serve more people like we've served. In 2003, we had 520 clients versus 950.
Well, the county's growing and it's a need we need to have, yeah.
Any other questions? I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like some to take home? You got how many grandkids?
Oh my
Well,
God.
well, I only got 3 of them at home and 1 for my wife, so I'm good.
Swarming you like
Good
a.
seeing you again.
Good, thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now you got a reason to like you again, you know what I'm saying? Like guy in a pork chop around here.
He'll eat him before he gets home.
Have a great night.
Thank you. Okay, first meeting of the month, and we do some scheduled reports, and for first Monday is Chief John Phillips from the EFD.
Year-to-date calls is 447, we're down 20 from the year before. Our clam bake was a success, we sold 225 eggs and 100 extra dozens. Went very well.
I thought the dinners were excellent.
Those are really good clams.
Yeah, there's always the, when you, one year they were a little sandy, the other where they weren't sandy, but they were small.
Yeah.
This year they were
They were
huge.
nice, big clams, and they were.
No sand.
And I think that corn was the best corn I've eaten all year.
That comes from June Fuglen. It's fantastic. She donates that.
She donates
to us
that
every year.
Well, thank her on our behalf.
We do.
Awful
It
nice.
was very good, and I had some critics that were sitting next to me that very professional clam bake eaters.
That was very successful, and I don't think I heard any complaints whatsoever. So, that's it for my report.
Thank you. Any fire department related questions for Chief Phillips? Nope, then we'll move into some scheduled trustee reports then, I guess, and we'll start with Mr. Everly.
Well, we've got our 4 miles of paving done, striped. I think it all came out really well. We did have a couple of citizens calling about the fact that they couldn't understand why they just didn't put all of the layers down at one time. And what Chagrin Valley does when they have a job like this is, they put down the base, intermediate, and top, if that's what their thing recalls. Sometimes we're just doing intermediate and top, so. But anyway, I think they did a very nice job. And got that all taken care of. We fared very well this summer in surfaces, in that we didn't have that much base failure this year. And I think some of that can be attributed to the crack sealing and ditching that these guys have been doing, but knock on wood, our chips are all holding up. I mean, we didn't put any patches, just major patching in the chips. Maybe a little pothole here and there. And
So I'm surprised, I thought we would have had some ramifications from all the rain we had.
that's what
earlier this
Demrick and
summer.
I thought. We thought, oh Jesus.
And then all of a sudden we went from that to semi-drought conditions, and a lot of
We've
heat.
got, on our chips, we've got 8 to 10 inches of tar, not tar, but of emulsion and stones. And it's flexible. when you're doing that some days, it's rigid. At the beginning, at least it's rigid, and then it breaks up into, you know, every 20, 30 feet, there's a cross crack on the road. What kind of deal is that, you know? And so, I think we've got some good bases there to do. One of the things we've got to do next year, though, is put some more asphalt down. One is on Barth. It is just not gonna hold up to all these semis. I don't know where all these semis are coming from.
You know, what road appears to be holding up well, and based on, like you were just talking about building the base with chip seal, Messenger looks really good still. That holds, 3 years now, 4.
When, is that when they paved that?
It's been at least, remember, Chief?
Yeah,
It's been
it's
4
at
years
least 4
anyway.
years.
It's like new yet. And that's something they said wasn't gonna work when you went over a chip seal and used that as your base. At one point, that was kind of discouraged,
You know,
but
we've done that numerous times. And the other place we did that, PJ, is I'll take you back to Stafford.
Stafford.
And you know how many cars and trucks are going now? There's even more trucks on Stafford, but we've had asphalt down there for, what, 13, 14 years.
oh, it's at least that, yeah.
And, yeah, probably more than that, because that first layer I forgot about was just kind of a leveling course, but, I'm gonna go by what's our previous experience. And we've had to pepper these,
Stafford and Messenger, I'm sorry, that's what I was thinking.
yeah,
Stafford
I knew
was the
what you were
Messenger,
talking
yeah.
about. We had to pepper these chips this year with this 95-degree days a couple times, but then we kind of got them stabilized. And to be honest with you, all of those chips that we were putting on there were still going down into the road. It wasn't like you were, you know, losing this stuff. And so I think, you know, I think we're in good shape. Wing actually has 8 to 10 inches of chip on it now. They're in good shape. We've got the culverts done over on Snow. So, guys they've been working hard, of course, with all the little stuff set up and take down of the picnic, but,
Are you thinking the better these chips hold up, the more these are candidates for an asphalt
yeah,
surface?
yeah. I
Agreed.
I can tell you this, and if I didn't live there and see it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe you, but I don't know where these semis are going. But we have no power to stop them.
I get them on Stafford East, but they're going down to Rapids Road is where they're going.
And then do they go south? Or
Yeah, there's 2 or 3,
businesses up there.
yeah, that
Yeah.
are just south of Stafford, about halfway between
Yeah, yeah.
422 and Stafford.
Well, I can tell you this chip isn't strong enough to handle semi-truck traffic. But I think we're, you know, we're holding our own right now on these road surfaces, to be honest with you. I really think we are. So, Mikey's following the production of our loader, and they're telling him still by, you know, mid to end of December, we should have it. So that's coming on track. And it's hard to do, but, you know, you're talking to some big outfit there. And there's thousands of those loaders being made all over, you know, I think they're made down in, I think there's some down in South America. Yeah, can you imagine that? And then they put them on a boat, of course, ship them out. But anyway, that's coming along.
If you bought it from Amazon, you would have it in 2 days.
Have in 2 days. You know, so we're doing good. The guys are really doing good. Our hired hand is doing well. We're kind of floating a proposal right now. And, you know, somebody giveth and taketh, but I think what we probably are gonna do, since we have that truck with that plow on it, is have him, and he gets his CDL, We'll have him plow the parking lots with that and shovel the walks. And that would be extremely helpful.
I can think of a couple people who appreciate that, actually.
Yeah. One named John. One named Denver.
Yeah, not to mention
Just get skis from front of the wheelchair.
So anyway, I think we probably would try to put, just on a part-time basis, so. He seemed to be very receptive to that. So that's what I got, guys.
Okay.
Well, we hired him, just a question, just a thought. We hired him seasonal through October, so do we have to readdress that then for winter, or redefine that, or seasonal? Can
Well,
we
I think
extend
we-
seasonal into another season?
He should have, here's the big stumbling block, PJ is the CDL.
Yes, and he's
So
taken
he
some
should have
steps
that
way.
before
Yeah.
October.
Yes, I think he will.
And so then I think what we do in October is we should, I think you're right, we should address it. And I'm just throwing out what the road guys were talking to me about. They
Okay.
thought, he seems to be fitting in.
He does. Yes, he does.
Yeah.
He was up there all day too.
He seemed to be
Saturday.
doing a good job.
Yeah, hell of a nice kid, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I have.
Okay. Michael?
Okay. Yeah, the only thing I wanted to do is just, again, I'm sure you want to add something else to this. Just certain people I want to thank for all the help they did. Nancy and Jane, all the road department guys, they worked relentlessly. They were there 8 or 9 o'clock.
Very early in the morning.
Very early in the
Everything was
morning,
set
to
up
very late
early,
at night
yeah.
to get all that done.
They all had good attitudes about it too.
Yep.
They do, yeah.
Fire department was represented there. Thank you guys for coming down. Of course, the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, they're instrumental in that. Matt Blowers was there all day and just working on the games and emceeing and doing whatever he could to help out. And one new thing we did this year, and I want to send out a personal thanks for that, is Carl Snyder came down with his tractor and was giving the hay rides without the hay. I want to scratch his paint. It was the first time we did it, so we weren't really sure how it would go, but that trailer was filled. As soon as Carl pulled up, they'd unload it and they loaded it again. And they did that for the entire 6 hours. I don't know what your back felt like by the end of the day, Carl, but I can't imagine your tractor is much more comfortable bouncing around than it was in the wagon. But I want to thank you for doing that, Carl. It was a great thing, and I couldn't believe that. I mean, right to the end of the day, Nancy went on. She took the last. We all volunteered for 1 hour to sit on the back of the trailer and make sure nobody fell off. That was at Carl's request. And Nancy, she took the last shift. She figured how many people could, again, load it back up all the way to the end of the day. What time did you get out of there, Carl?
Right after 6.
Well, anyway, thank you, Carl. Really appreciate that, and hope you consider doing it again because it was very well
It was a
appreciated
big
by all.
hit,
all
huge hit.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that was your idea too, wasn't it? I think I remember.
No,
threw
Nancy wanted to have a hayride, and
Did
she
Okay.
ran into
All
a
right.
little issue with the finding a wagon, and it was a little touch and go for a while, but we secured what we did, and it worked out real good, and it's, you say thank you, and I appreciate it. I kind of enjoy just giving a little bit back to the community. I think I know the people, I mean, when they got off the wagon, and they were happy, they got more than what they bargained for, and by that what I mean is that for the first 2 hours, you would never believe how many monarch butterflies came out of that field and that wood line. Unbelievable. I've never seen, I never paid attention to monarch butterflies before, but I know there's a lot of effort going on to try to save them because they have some issues. So that was one. Number two, one of the girls, little girl and back in the wagon, she saw it before I did. There was a fox cutting through. Oh, you were right, PJ. In fact, PJ, you mentioned that she had pointed that out.
She did.
And then after you got off the wagon, a little while later, there was a turkey out in the field.
Was there really?
Yeah, so, I mean, it was a hayride, but it was more than just a hayride, so.
It must have been that guy's kids or something, because I that was the report I got back, and, we really like that. Well, remember that day when you came by, and I go, Carl, there'll probably be some slack time, you'll just be able to, I don't think you'll be driving this all day, and, well, I guess.
Well, were you wrong?
Was way wrong, huh?
Well, like I said, it's nice to be able to give back, and that worked out real fine for all of us, so.
So we know we have a path that's worthy of a whole bunch of trips with the wagon.
Yeah, I was doing a little speculation, but we'll talk about that some other time.
Well,
Well,
thank
thank
you
you,
very
Carl.
much,
Yeah,
Carl.
that was a nice addition.
You're all welcome.
So much, thank you.
Believe me, you're welcome.
Okay, that's,
Little things like that really make that picnic a success.
okay, Mike, that's what you got?
That's what I got.
I'm just gonna go through a couple things here. There were some, and I don't wanna name names, but I know Nancy recruited several volunteers to help run the games and gopher and everything else, so besides all the people we just mentioned, there are some that, and I don't have a list, but I'm sure we're gonna have thank yous on the table to sign,
Yeah, well, we had,
eventually, but there.
Nancy's daughter was
Nancy's
there.
daughters, but yeah, I don't.
Jane's daughter was there.
I don't wanna name everybody,
Yeah.
because there was, I don't wanna leave somebody out, but I'm sure we've always thanked these people by letter afterwards, and I'm sure Nancy's gonna get that together after she recuperates today, so. I know I talked to her early this morning, and boy, this is a lot of work, and then by afternoon I come up here and the chief was here too, and she's going over how much fun it was. So, I assume we're gonna,
It is a lot of work.
I'm assuming we're probably gonna lean towards version 4 if everybody stays in place here,
Yeah, she was already, when I talked to her, she was already planning little tweaks for the next one, so she must seem like she's over this one and ready for next year.
A couple other things is, one is we patched the doors, and I think the guys were going up, I don't know if they got there late in the week, to do some wood type patches at the back door at the museum, so that's weather tight again. Letter from, we got notice of this, I don't remember if it came before last meeting, but the county's doing that 208 plan deal, and that's Wednesday, Fred? I was just talking to you about it, what do we do with that? They want a trustee and a zoning inspector there. I haven't talked to Frank.
Is that so we can explain to them what the 208 is?
I'm not, this is it's kind of cloudy. It's from Water Resources, who, if you remember, in concert with NOACA, wanted us to change our 208 plan. For what reason, we don't know, and why, we don't know that either. And lots of questions were asked, and the whole thing seemed to get punted. So, I'll go to this one. This is 6 o'clock on Wednesday up at Building 8. And I'll get with Jane or Frank tomorrow and see if they're available. If Frank can't do it, you wanna send Jane on the
Sure.
clock?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let her know that then. That's about all I got. Yeah, I don't know, John, I
Did we ever receive back, I might have been in a twilight zone, did we ever get back the revised map from them?
No, I'll tell you right where it ended was Frank had, not the director, but somebody that worked
Right.
beneath him at Water Resources, came down on a Friday.
Right.
At Frank's request. Frank had a bunch of questions, he got no answers then, but they were gonna get back to us, and this is the next communication.
But
we
that
had.
was months ago, wasn't it?
That was April, yeah,
Yeah.
it was April. If you remember, we got that letter like in late March, and you gotta have this
Couldn't
done.
remember if it ever happened or not.
You gotta have it done by April 15th. We had a few questions.
You're in a hurry.
That really quick.
So we'll find out, we'll see we might find out what happened to that. Okay, Fred.
All right, gentlemen, I've got your regular reports in front of you. Appropriation summary report, your fund summary report, and your revenue summary reports. Also have payment listing warrants 5395 through 5422 totaling $51,277.22. Of note on there is a payment to Earthworks LLC for $33,873. We need a supplemental appropriation to the fire levy fund to pay for workers' comp premium. And I have a resolution for that. That's resolution 2019-24. I will read that into the record. Be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Auburn Township, Geauga County, Ohio, that the following supplemental appropriations are necessary to pay for Bureau of Workers' Compensation Insurance: $3,972 to fire levy fund account 2191-220-230 workers' compensation.
Motion to adopt that resolution.
Second.
John?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
That's all I've got.
Okay. Let's see, going into some old business, we've got some quotes on Adam Hall Electrical. The primary goal there is to get the electrical exterior upgraded for some better heat cables, and, I'm gonna put that, I'll get that.
I had quite a discussion with Mr. Dixon at Clambake about that. He says, I don't understand why you're doing it, and the repairs we've made should be more than adequate, and that he was gonna contact Hummel and say, hey, listen, and I said, well, here's this letter from Hummel. We're kind of being a basketball bouncing around in between these guys. And we basically built a roof over the worst spot that used to be the ice buildup.
On the side.
We built, yeah,
And the addition.
we put a whole roof over there. Jim pointed that out, and I understand that. So he said, I think it's an awful lot of money to have to spend, and he had Nancy send me all the quotes. And he said, I just don't think that, I think we need to pursue that through Hummel first. He was
We
gonna-
did send him, we did send home all over,
But not through,
not through Dixon.
no, but Jim was gonna call Eric himself, and that'd be a high level to high level. And I said, well, if you would appreciate it, but I said, we're gonna have snow soon, and, he said, if I was you, I'd hold off on spending that money on those things. That's what he said.
Think,
I'd just throw that up for,
hold on for a couple weeks?
Yeah, I certainly would.
Hopefully we won't have any-
I trust Jim, and Jim
Yeah.
has done some
Hopefully we won't have any October 1st snowstorm.
Well, no.
We got problems across the board if that happens. I think everybody does, but, no, Jim's done some damn good things around the township, and, yeah, if he'll make a call or two, he's always gotten action before, so.
so can I write that same page? Did you compete?
But we'll take them back, we'll get those back out anyway, so
I just
we'll know
wanted to
what
throw
we're-
it up, I'm not trying to kick it down
Okay.
down the field, but on the other hand, those quotes are kinda all over the place.
They were all over the map, yes, they were. There were some apples in there and some oranges, I think. Okay, we've got more quotes on the stair replacement back here. three now. One's gonna be just basic, just the stairway itself, quote does not include because the manufacturer, I guess, of these stairs doesn't really have access to or is interested in working with delivery, installation, or an architect to draw them. We could, I suppose, theoretically, go find our own to provide at least those three services.
They could, but I'd rather have the
Yeah.
whole thing done by, have one responsible party putting that up rather than having somebody fighting over it in the future.
That's kind of what I thought.
Smart thing.
And a quote from local guy Cleveland Art at 284728. And a quote and then an update that came in today about enclosures on the back of the steps. So once he included that in, it's 17,463. And that's,
The one thing that I would, two things is that Cleveland Art has given us powder coated, which is a huge difference. And the other thing is that you have to have the side walls of this thing, they have to be constructed such that you can't push a 4-inch sphere between any openings.
the Liberty quote, I can tell you that the other thing that they will bring a crane. It's because there won't be any on-site welding or bolting of the step structure itself, except for to the concrete. So, yeah, crane would get set up and they put the whole thing and they're gonna do the complete installation after we do the concrete footing. And he would either weld or bolt that, or
I
whatever
think
purpose we have.
Jason's been a very good neighbor, he's a resident, and I still think, I've seen the quality of his work, and plus the powder coating makes a one-stop deal. I think he has the best quote.
Yeah, the powder coating's gonna give us the best overall. I mean, his point was well taken that, well, yeah, you're gonna burn it off if you have to do any welding. Well, I'd rather,
We're not gonna be doing any welding.
it's all gonna be bolt on, right?
There's only 4 bolts to put the steps to the tower, and you're done.
Okay, so,
There's 4 bolts that it requires to put it together. Well, not, plus the studs to anchor it to the ground. But, I think myself that Jason has the most complete quote here. And, it truly is gonna meet all the IBC.
okay. Yeah, with the price difference, with the powder coating versus not, I think that's really negligible. So, yeah, I concur. I'd like to make a motion to go with Cleveland Art on this project.
I'll second it.
John,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
PJ,
No.
okay. Motion passes 2-1.
NatureWorks grant, I had her put that back on the agenda because we will be getting an answer on our application for the pavilion that we worked through Chagrin River Watershed Partners. That was announced it was in the middle of October last year, and I would expect that to be about the same, so we're just gonna leave that on the agenda until that takes place, when we find out, so.
Do you have any indications of one way or the other?
No.
Gut feeling?
I thought, well, our application was, we were maybe a little late to the party last year. But, and they did give us an analysis as to why we did not, the grant went to South Russell in its entirety last year. And there were several reasons why. One is, was a maintenance plan, which we submitted that in its entirety. We met here about an hour and a half one day. Fred, were you here? Yeah, you were here for that one. The other thing was the South Russell application last year was for replacement of an outdated structure, which gives you more points than for a new structure. We also had been a recent recipient, and they had not. So all these are a point here, a point there.
Yeah.
And we fixed everything that was within our power to fix. I mean, I can't turn back the calendar. We have received these grants before for that playground up there, as a matter of fact. But it was a better application we put in this year. So for that alone, I feel better about it. So guess we'll see.
Hey, you just mentioned something, PJ. Was it, at the picnic, was the playground busy?
Yeah.
Everything was busy.
Everything.
Playground
was
was
busy.
nonstop.
And you know, I got a lot of compliments from people on that bocce ball court too.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I know we rented bocce balls.
Yeah, that's getting noticed and used a lot more than I thought it would, being over there on the side of there.
Well, I read in the newspaper that kids didn't play on playgrounds anymore, and I just didn't really believe it.
That's just in Bainbridge.
Oh, and, so, I think that, you know, the newness when we put the playground, well, who would ever play on this? I've never been up there when there wasn't a mother or two or three or four or 10 playing on the playground.
I can say when they were distracted by games that were on the
Yeah.
playground.
Yeah, great.
And the bocce ball court, I also found out, is real popular with the like 2-year-old set, because it's a nice sandbox.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I have my little 2-year-old granddaughter, she told me that's a great sandbox.
It's a great sandbox.
Oh, okay.
So, okay. Public comment? Yes.
Yeah, 3 warrants. Fred, you mentioned 5405 United Earthworks. And then I have 2 other questions. What was that for, the 33,000, whatever?
I believe that was for, is that ditch work?
Snow road.
Snow road?
Okay, all right. And then 5403 is for Eris.
That
And
was for porta potties.
oh, yeah, thank you. And 5421, I know Butowski was mentioned a while back.
Correct.
Is this 956 in connection with that 208 stuff?
No, it's the rezoning of our business district over by, help me out here, somebody.
Indian Hills area.
Indian Hills
There-
area.
We had to
Okay.
do new legal descriptions.
Okay, all right, so that's, well, that was like back from about, like May, April, May?
Yeah, we started the process
Yeah,
back.
okay, thank you,
I believe that was the one and only invoice for that.
okay.
Okay, anybody else? Going once, twice? Thank y'all for coming. I guess I'll look for the ultimate motion.
Motion of all motions.
Second?
John,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
822.
Thank everyone for coming,
You're welcome.
especially you, Mike. Especially.
Okay. You might have to double check this here.
You said it.